Let's do it. What's good with the YouTube? As you already know, this is Big Flaco with my co-host, Big Senor Rojo. As you already know, I'm going to keep on doing this for a little bit, man. I'm smashing. I'm dashing. I'm sliding on through with who, what? A little bit of energy. What's good with it out there, man? So we got an interesting topic today. Interesting title. We're going to be discussing a particular individual's case that when they went up for the parole board, and it discusses a couple things that are going to be kind of interesting. One of them is going to be about the wrong target being killed. You know what I'm saying? They went in to go kill an NF member, and he wasn't there. They ended up killing his brother. And he goes into a little bit about the details of this. So without further ado, I'm going to let Rojo get straight to it, and then we're going to give you guys a little convict's perspective here.
So basically, this is the story of Mr. Tomas Acosta, B56898. And like Flaco said, this is from the parole board. It was just like, this is a situation similar to the one we did about Death Row Joe, where the parole board went ahead and agreed that he could return to society, and then the governor shot it down, overruled it. So this is an interesting case. You'll probably recognize a familiar name, a friend of the channel, and we'll take it from here. Statement of facts. On August 31st, 1977, Nuestra Familia members Tomas Acosta, Raymond Hernandez, Simon Munoz, and Carmen Acosta drove to the home of Jesse de la Cruz, a Nuestra Familia dropout. The men were acting on orders from gang members in prison to kill Jesse. Acosta knocked on the door of the de la Cruz home, but only Ernest de la Cruz was there. There was another knock again, and Mr. Acosta and Mr. Hernandez forcibly entered the home. Mr. Acosta and Mr. Hernandez stabbed Ernest over 50 times and slashed his throat, killing him. Mr. Munoz testified that Mr. Acosta admitted he cut Ernest's throat and bragged it was his 5th star, indicating it was the 5th hit for the Nuestra Familia. The question I must answer is whether Mr. Acosta will pose a current danger to the public if released from prison. The circumstances of the crime can provide evidence of current dangerousness when the record also establishes that something in the inmate's pre- or post-incarceration history or the inmate's current demeanor and mental state show that the circumstances of the crime remain probative of current dangerousness. The Board of Parole Hearings found Mr. Acosta suitable for parole based on his length of incarceration, current age, acceptance of responsibility, educational and vocational upgrades, risk assessment, as well as parole plans. I acknowledge that Mr. Acosta is 64 years old, periodically uses a walker, and has been incarcerated for almost 40 years. He has made efforts to improve himself while incarcerated. He has participated in self-help programming, including Alcoholics, as well as Narcotics Anonymous, Celebrate Recovery, Victim Impact, Domestic Violence, and Time List. He dropped out of the Nuestra Familia in the 1980s and has not been disciplined for serious misconduct since 1993. He has completed vocational training programs. I commend Mr. Acosta for taking these positive steps, but they are outweighed by the negative factors that demonstrates he remains unsuitable for parole. Now here's where it's going to get interesting, you guys. Pay attention.
Pay attention to this, guys.
Mr. Acosta's crime is callous and brutal. He hunted down a Nuestra Familia dropout, but when he could not find him, he killed the dropout's brother by violently stabbing him over 50 times and slashing his throat. He then bragged about how it was his 5th kill for the gang. Mr. Acosta has an alarming history of violence. He has been out of prison for just over 1 month. He had been out of prison for just over 1 month, but did not hesitate to carry out the ruthless murder of Mr. De La Cruz's brother on behalf of his gang. Just 2 years before killing Mr. De La Cruz, Mr. Acosta stabbed a fellow inmate to death on the prison yard on orders of the Nuestra Familia.
How many days?
Just 2 years before killing, before the killing. He eventually was convicted of voluntary manslaughter and sentenced to serve 3 years in prison, concurrent with his life term. And 2 years before killing the other inmate, Mr. Acosta and two other inmates forced an inmate to orally copulate them and threatened to continue to beat the inmate's brother until he did. For this, Mr. Acosta was sentenced to serve 6 months to 15 years in prison. Once in prison, he continued his involvement in the Nuestra Familia and rose to the rank of lieutenant. Mr. What do you even say to that, bro? Mr. Acosta's explanations for such extreme violence are inadequate. He told the psychologist that he committed the life crime to bolster his status within the gang, and he wanted to show that he was dedicated to the prison gang. I didn't feel I was viewed as that. He told the board that he felt hopeless and was simply following orders. With respects to the forced oral copulation, Mr. Acosta described his own actions. I was an animal. I was a beast. I wasn't acting right. He said they decided to take advantage of the other inmate because he was a homosexual and his brother was a rat. These statements do not sufficiently explain his actions. The 2015 psychologist concluded that Mr. Acosta has relatively limited awareness about why he joined the gang and was committed to the life of crime. I share these concerns and am not yet convinced that Mr. Acosta sufficiently understands what it was that led him to commit such violent acts. My concerns are supported by the psychologist's recent assessment that Mr. Acosta's probability of committing another sex crime. The static 99R measure risks factors empirically shown to be associated with sexual recidivism.
Wow.
Mr. Acosta was rated a high risk of reoffending sexually in the future. While the psychologist opined that his risk for sexual reoffense is significantly lower than the score on the instrument's risk assessment, I remain concerned about the sufficiency of Mr. Acosta's understanding of the reasons he committed such violent crimes and also because of the statistical probability of him committing another crime involving sexual violence. I have considered the evidence in the record that is relevant to whether Mr. Acosta is currently dangerous. When considered as a whole, I find the evidence shows that he currently poses an unreasonable danger to society if released from prison. Therefore, I reverse the decision to parole Mr. Acosta. March 25th, 2016, Mr. Edmund G. Brown, Governor, State of California.
You know, the first thing that stands out is that thing that they did to that dude, the oral copulation, you know what I mean, all that. I don't think that those are tendencies right there that I don't think are repairable. But he is old, you know what I mean? But like we said before, any type of offenses like that, you can't support, bro. You know what I'm saying? Especially in those time areas when there was enough of them on the yard that are willing to do it. You don't have to go take it, you know what I mean? You know, that just goes to show the treachery of the 70s, man. If you didn't think that all this stuff was going on with all these groups like that, they were doing that shit, man. That's just a common fact. Not everybody was indulging like that, but there was those. It was convicts. It was criminals. And he's the basic classic, what you would label a criminal, convict. The old school mentality, you know what I mean? Whacking dudes and stuff, you know what I mean? He had no remorse. You know, the whole situation with the brother, man, that's just an unfortunate thing. I've heard about it. You know what I mean? I didn't know the details about it, but, you know, how could you go in and just take out someone's brother, man, that has nothing to do with the scenario or situation, you know? And you do all that, you put in all that work, you're talking about your 5 stars, you know what I mean? Everybody knows back in the days that Garnage used to put stars every time they did a hit. You know what I'm saying? When I meant a hit, someone's life was taken. So for him to brag and boast about 5 stars and this and that, you know, who knows where his mind state's at, man. A lot of dudes fall off politically. And when they fall off politically, that's when they all of a sudden want to clean up their act. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, bro. The time era,
the real dancing bear stood up.
Hey, bro, hey, people talk about the time era and this and that, you know, and I'm willing to somewhat take that into consideration because all the groups were doing it at the time. It's not like he's the only person, he's the only this, he's the only that. But anytime that you know, we're just talking about regular man-on-man relations, bro. We're not talking about force, threat, violence. That's weird, bro. And I mean, if you're doing that to a grown man in prison, I don't want you on the streets with females.
Have you ever heard about the story where the NF and the MA had a conflict over a punk in the
No.
70s? I think Mundo was involved in that as well. Seriously, look that shit up, bro. There was some type of issue in the past. I don't know the details of it, man, but there was something to do with
we'll
punk back then.
we'll try to find it.
You know what I'm saying?
We'll break it down, man.
Yeah, it's just crazy, bro. Like, it is a time era though. That's why I said, like, around the 90s, the system changed, bro. When they started to send people in for like low-level crimes, like drug possession, residential burglaries and stuff like that, the convict trademark just changed.
Yeah.
And the politics came into the fold. And with that, certain things weren't accepted. But back in the 70s and 80s, man, at that time, there was a lot of shit that was accepted that, man, today you get whacked over.
Oh, immediately.
You know?
Banished, whack. Yeah, hey, you know, if it was regular man-on-man stuff that was going on back then, I could overlook it because I believe to each their own. If that's what you want to do with your package or someone else's, hey, go ahead and mail your package. You know what I'm saying? But when you get to taking stuff, man, that's never been okay at any time, really. I know prison was a different place in the city before, like you said, even before the 80s, really, man, up until the 80s, bro. People were animals in there, bro. There is, you could literally, you know, they were taking cheeks, bro. You know, they were taking your commissary. They were slapping you. They were making you wear makeup. They're making you hold pockets. They're making you hold belt loops, bro. And that's just how it went down back then. You know, so it is a different era, but you know, when you talk about letting somebody out for parole, that's taken from a grown man, how can you trust them around, you know, the less, you know, gangster sex being the women, you know, the ones that would have a harder time, you know, there's just no place in society for it, you know. And you know, I'm already biased a little bit because I like Dr. David Cruz. He's my boy, you know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
you know,
that's another
you
thing
can
too,
never
bro.
involve people, bro. And that's what people need to realize. When you go after family, when you fuck with law enforcement, they're gonna come after you with the full weight of the government. Dude, it's just bad for business as well.
Yeah, they don't do that stuff no more. But see, you know what else I caught on that, man, is there was like one or two negative comments about the Dr. De La Cruz, saying he was an NF and this and that. There it is there.
Oh, no, he was for sure.
You know what I mean? That was the whole purpose, what they went there for. You know what I mean? So if anybody wants to put that to a test, because there's been a couple people that, or actually one person, I think it was, man, that was in the comments, man. And, you know, but back to this, man, 64 years old, and I'm still a firm believer. If you have that type of crime that's proven, that's admitted, there's no, I don't think predators can change.
I don't either.
You know what I'm saying? I do believe, like, say, like you're in the system and it's a very treacherous environment, and it's a survival mode, and you're part of a group. Because the one common thing, I've been looking at some old transcripts from the 70s. You know what the main common theme for each NF member, that was why they joined?
Protection.
For protection from the MA. Every one of them. I have the Bible case, everyone that ended up flipping and all that, and that was their whole reason when they joined in 1970 or 72 was for protection from the MA.
Yeah.
So, you know, stuff like that, with hits, murders that go down the streets, and there, I get it, because I've said this before, and I don't mean to reiterate it. It's the cost of doing business when you live in that lifestyle. You know, it's not like how do you say, a psychotic behavior. It's became the normalcy of your environment, because that's how it goes down out there. It's about surviving. It's about living. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to take him out before he takes me out. You know, and if you're given an order to do this, you know what I'm saying? And you refuse, what's going to happen? Next thing you know, you're going to get hit. So you kind of adapt to that environment. So I think people in those stages can change. I think that they can pretty much repent for their sins and whatnot and change. But the other ones, that just means you got something sick up here.
Yeah, and you know what I was just tripping on just now is the fact that okay, back then, you know, being gay, whatever they call it, was real unaccepted in society as a whole. But it was very accepted in prison. Fast forward to current times, now it's really accepted in society, and it's taboo in prison. Yeah. You know, don't get me wrong, I've seen a few weird things in prison. You know what I mean? Never by North or South. you know what I mean, by the other groups. Like I seen some weird stuff and I was just like, whoa, you know, and that was in the early 90s. But time like this is all I'm saying is times have changed a whole lot. Whereas in the 70s, it was real common for real gangsters, bro. People that'll run something all the way throughout your back, you know what I mean? Without a second thought, to have them a little person on the side, you know what I'm saying?
Little Danny.
That was kind of the normal, right? Nowadays, that's the you get killed for that. You know, back then it was like, oh, the homeboy got him one. I need to get me one. Like, what? That's different, bro. But nowadays it's over. You're not gonna do that as north south. You know what I mean? It's just not gonna happen. Some of the other groups still participate in that stuff. You know, I've seen it with my own eyes.
Yeah, but they took all them off the yards now too, though, bro. They're all in SNY yards. So
You
they
don't
kind
think
of.
them fools in SNY are over there doing their thing?
Oh
They
yeah,
don't. They don't have nobody to answer to.
They're doing their
You know.
thing,
You know
bro.
what's always killed me. You know
I
what's
heard.
always
Hey,
killed me, bro.
I heard. Hey, I heard about. Oh, Bajo. He was over there just taking Chino's cheeks and shit, bro. Over there, bro. Real talk, bro.
He was mashing them beans, huh?
Yeah, he was smashing the beans, bro.
Hey,
Not to, well, every location he goes, that's what he's doing, man.
he's just
Up until the 80s and 90s, that shit was still going down, though, bro. Come on, man.
hey, them SNY fools over there tearing it down like it's.
Man.
You know what always tripped me out too, bro? Is people who participated in those kind of activities would have the nerve to say that they're straight. It's like, no, you're not. It doesn't matter if you're in jail. None of that stuff matters, bro. Let's keep it 100. Whether you're the giver, you're the receiver. It's bro. No, you can't say that. It's not. You can't be honest about it. You know what I mean? And people are like, oh, I was in jail. Man, shit, I was in jail too. You know? I don't know, bro. It's a trip, man. I seen people try to deny, like, oh, I'm not the girl. Okay. Well, that's good for you, I guess. You know what I'm saying? It's probably better for your situation, but yeah, I mean, come on, bro. You still playing ball with that team. You are what you are, and you know why deny it? You know what I mean? Just, you know, I was in prison with you, bro. I already know. You know, come on, cut it out. But anyway, we got off subject a little bit, but as far as this, man,
Crazy.
hey, he did two things that nowadays wouldn't fly. You know, went after a innocent and man forcibly took some neck piece from a man. Just took his whole neck, bro.
Not just him, a couple other ones, man.
Man,
they were beating the brother up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They wouldn't stop beating him up unless he did what they told him to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's not funny. I'm sitting here laughing. I'm sitting here laughing, talking about it's not funny. But
issues there,
yeah.
bro. Come on, he got some. Hey, that makes some of those movies they see where they do the crazy stuff, man, like Shawshank Redemption or whatever. That shit used to happen in those times, man.
That was a good movie. Yeah, for sure.
That was a good movie, huh?
Yeah, that was a great movie, man. It was a great movie. What did they call them guys that chased them around? The Marys or something like that?
What were they called, man?
I don't know. They had a little name for that group of dudes that was always chasing them around trying to bend his spokes. I don't remember. But
It was something like that, huh?
Hey, but hey, that's one thing you could say, man. You know, as far as California politics, everybody thinks, hey, California is real extreme. And yes, California is really extreme on them
They don't have that kind of stuff
GPRs.
going down though.
Yeah, hey, you don't got to worry about your neck piece, your back door. You don't gotta trip on that. You know what I'm saying? Hey, go to prison in Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia.
Yeah.
Be a little skinny white dude and end up in one of them damn Alabama prisons. Brutal.
It's normal over there, bro. It's normal over there.
Hey, the first time I ever seen that stuff, man, I was in the county jail. I was 17. I think I've said this in Texas. You go to county when you're 17, man. So I'm in Fort Bend County Jail. And little Mexican dude, bro, 5'4", 5'5". And a black dude, yoked as hell, bro. We're celled up. You'll never guess who was the boy and who was the girl.
The yoke dude was the girl.
Yeah, bro. It was a trip. Because I had never been around those kind of people, bro. So it's like my first trip to the county, I want to say. and it's cell living on one side of the jail. I'm in cells and shit, but I'm actually on a mattress in the day room, and then there's like an 8-piece of cells. And bro, he's like, hey, you wanna come down to my cell to kick it? I'm just chopping it up with Mexican dude, right? I'm like, yeah, what's up? And he's like, you want to see me smack my bitch? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He smacked the black dude. And black dude's like, oh, daddy, stop. But I think they're fucking with me, bro. I don't even know, right? I'm like, what's going on here, bro? And there's some loving going on in that son bitch, bro.
Oh wow,
I ain't
bro.
lying to you. But yeah, hey, that's what I'm saying though is down south it's a different animal. You know, it's a trip, dude.
And don't categorize these organizations as a whole based upon this one case right here, man.
Yeah.
Both sides had individuals that indulged, but I think the majority didn't indulge.
Yeah, that was just a time frame. That was just it wasn't looked at as taboo,
it's even written in the bylaws, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They put the word punk, materialistic things and money and all that. They put or punks.
Yeah.
You know, in the whole old one, man. I've seen it eye for eye, man.
Yeah, I got a copy of every one ever, you know, every constitution ever, I think. Unless there's something new that just transpired within the last 5 years or so. But you know, all the man, I think I got the original, the second, the third, and a couple of the revised ones, like from the 90s. And that was definitely in one of the first issues is, you know, that specific terminology when talking about jailhouse relationships. You know, like I don't know.
I think that stuff started going out in the 2000s, though, man. I know in the 90s it was still going on, man. You know what I'm saying?
I never seen it in my. Oh man, I take that back, bro. Check this out. There's a little story for you guys. I don't know. This is a weird one for me. I'm in San Quentin on the 6 yard, man, and I don't remember who was in charge. I don't remember if I was in charge or if somebody else was, to be honest with you, because I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I was a pro at the time, so somebody else was probably in charge. But there was a dude, a lifer, a homeboy, that had came out of North Block. He had got rolled up for something. He was in the hole. And he was in North Block, and bro, he brought pictures to the yard one day, right? Talking about, you guys want to check out my hyena, and it wasn't like a hyena, like in the traditional sense. It was one of these new age kind of hyenas. You know what I'm saying? Like a little bit different, you know. And I'm like, man, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, this is a dude, bro. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't want to say nothing, bro, because maybe his girl was just kind of rough. You know what I'm saying? But hey, he was showing all his pictures on the 6 yard. Everybody knew that he was in a full-blown relationship with one of those kind of individuals, bro. And he was accepted on the yard. And that was like 95 or 90, it had to be 95.
There was people that were accepted, man. There was another cat named Little from Oakland that was accepted, bro, up in the Bay. You know what I'm saying? I heard about that. You know what I mean? There's been a couple. There was a dude in Solano, the 2 yard, named Jesse. That was his thing too. They were accepted back then. Then you had Rachel too from Stockton. Somewhere around the lines, they just had to get rid of them. You know what I'm saying? I seen you know, one that was with the Southsiders before. You know what I'm saying? One named Lottie. You know what I'm saying? You know, I remember the whole fucking work vocational thing, right? Up in Solano, right? You know, you went by the wrong area, man. It smelled like motherfucking straight mirrored that because they were them fucking woods were plugging that corno over there with one of them churros, bro. Shit you not, man. I was like, oh wow, man. You know what I'm saying? Because they were on the yards back then, bro. So there's people that were, you know what I mean? It was the early stage of going from the convict mentality where that shit happened to where politics were starting to come into fold and things weren't accepted. I say probably around 2000s when everything just started to change and they started to sit there and say, look, this isn't going to be acceptable. We're going to live by these guidelines. We're going to have these rules of conduct and so forth. And I think Rachel got moved maybe in 2002. They sent Little Man from Patterson to go remove him, her, whatever you want to call it. And Rachel put hands on him. You know what I'm saying? And I think from that point forward, it's where they were not accepted to be part of the lucha. You know what I'm saying? Even back in the 90s, they were not allowed to be part of the struggle, but they could associate a little bit if they could be used to be beneficial. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And that's what I was always told, man. But there comes a time where you have to have boundaries with it. And a lot of people didn't have boundaries, man. it was kind of funny seeing people. There's a lot of people, man, you could pull their covers back then, man. They were doing this or doing that or trying, you know what I mean? Nowadays, they'll be like, nah. But man, I remember that shit, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, yeah, we had one do a move on the integrated 2 yard because we used to go out at the same time as them, and we had one handle the business because there was somebody over there we wanted to get at, and we weren't going to waste no real homie, you know what I'm saying? So we had that dude. Hey, the dude handled his business. Then talking about, can I come to the 6 yard? After that, we're like, no, 6 yard is just not in your agenda.
It's not for you.
Yeah, you can't come out to the 6 yard. I'm really surprised they let old boy that had a a prison hyena. I'm surprised they let him come to the 6 yard. You know what I mean?
There was a dude that was in celled up with one man coming out to the yard with hickeys on his neck, bro. Real talk, man. I remember me and the other homeboy were talking about it. He goes, man, what do you think about that? Man, I was young. I said, man, that doesn't look right. You know what I'm saying? All kinds of weird shit was going on in the 90s, bro. You know what I'm saying? All kinds of weird stuff.
Imagine the 70s. I bet it was disgusting. I bet there was some cold stuff going on, man.
Hey, no, the worst part was this, right? Was that person, well, the person, the he, she, whatever you want to call it, right, was playing handball, and all of a sudden someone said, damn, look, there's a red spot. There was a red spot where the blood area was at on the sweats. So it's like, what the fuck is going on around here, man? This is not what I expected in prison, to see shit like this, man. It was crazy, man. But these are like true stories, bro. Like it was a different time here, bro.
Yeah, they actually have that, man. They actually used to have like a damn stroll in prison. You know what I mean? When my mother's were, they were pimping. You know what I mean? They were, man. It was a different era, bro. It was a different era back then. They had a little stroll. It is what it is.
Oh man, I'm not even gonna repeat some of the stuff that I seen, bro. You'd be laughing.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, maybe that's for a Patreon kind of thing. That's
man.
This is. I've been having a hard time wording the things I want to say already on here. So we don't want to take it no further.
This
but
is funny though, bro.
Hey, any way you look at it, man, different era. Be glad you weren't around back then, especially if you were weak. You know what I mean? And no offense to nobody who's weak, but prison's rough, man. It's rough nowadays.
Yeah, it is.
They'll butcher you, man, for trivial stuff, man. Back then they'd go after your family. You know what I mean? So do the right things in life and try to find you a different direction, man, where you don't got to worry about those kind of things. We won't be sitting up here joking about you. I mean, real talk. Am I right?
I have to agree, man. Anyways, man, this is a real quick spiel about this individual, Acosta, man. You know what I'm saying? Seems like he was very ferocious, bro, to be honest with you. He's an old man now, man. But he seemed like he was
business.
He was with that business. He was way with that business. You know what I mean? Every business. You know what I mean? Come here, I'm gonna give you the business. You know what I'm saying? Open wide. I'm gonna give you some business.
Man.
I'm sorry, guys, man. I shouldn't even laugh, but man, you know what I'm saying? I think there's probably more to it. You know what I'm saying? The story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's probably something we don't want to know, but
probably something we don't want to know, man.
Hey, you guys, the moral of the story is stay out of prison. It's dangerous.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, sometimes your family can become involved. Think about it. You never know. You piss off the wrong person, man, it can still happen. You know what I mean? It's your boy Rojo, Big Flacco. Hope you guys enjoyed the story. This was actually a pretty funny one. No disrespect intended to nobody. You know what I'm saying? Just having a good time. See you guys later on the live, man. Appreciate y'all.